Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Isabel Starck with the Empower Hour. I want to welcome you to this fourth episode. Yeah, lots has been happening and I'm really excited to have you here live. So first I'm going to actually start with a few housekeeping tips. Let me just activate the Q&A here. Sorry about that. Here we go. All right, so if you are joining me live from Google Hangouts, Google+, you will actually, if you want to interact with me, ask some questions, the way you can do that is actually by looking at the top of your screen, and what you'll see are the 9 Google squares, so it's basically 3 and 3 and 3 squares. If you hover over that with your mouse, you will see an app that comes out as Q&A. So all you have to do is click on Q&A and you'll be able to type in your question live. The other way that you might be joining us is actually watching me through YouTube. YouTube has a slight delay, and through YouTube you cannot actually ask a live question. However, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you will notice a box basically stating join the conversation. If you click on that, you will then have another window open up, which will take you to Google, and you will again have access to the 9 squares. Select Q&A, and you will be able to type in your question. So with that said, I will be reminding you this throughout because I know some people will actually be joining a little bit later, and yeah, that way anybody that would like to ask a question can. The great thing about this though is the fact that people do send in their questions via message or even comments on the group page, so I have a number of questions to keep us busy. So with that, I just need to take a look here, make sure everything is activated. All right. Okay, so to start, first of all, as I mentioned before, my name is Isabel Starck, and I'm your host for the Empower Hour. I am an empowerment and business coach who help women entrepreneurs get their businesses off the ground, basically take them from a hobby and turn them into a full-fledged business. So I welcome you here today because I am here to be of service to you. This is my way to give back to the community and being able to answer your questions on the spot and help you with anything that might be coming up for you regarding your business, regarding your life, regarding kids, even having kids and running your business. As you all know, I have a little toddler, so he's not here right now, but yeah, he does keep me quite busy, and it really makes the planning of my workday even more specific. So I can actually speak about that as well. So welcome to the Empower Hour. I'm really happy to have you here. If you'd like to ask a question, again, just go ahead and select the Q&A app via Google+, and that will be accessible by the 9 squares at the top of the screen. I think it's up here or up here on your screen. So welcome. So to get started today, what I'd like to do is I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your manifestation powers. If you know, this week, my husband actually went in for surgery. And, it was not our last minute thing. We knew it was coming, but we don't normally, plan ahead, and we just deal with things as they come. So I didn't tell anybody about this until the day it happened. Literally, it was hours before. Even my sister called me and said, what's going on? I didn't know about this. But he went in for surgery, and as with any surgery, if a person is being put under, there's always a little bit of apprehension around that. I have my positive powers, positive thinking powers. However, I know that the power of positive thinking as a whole is just so much larger. So I made a post in the Facebook group, and all of you sent your prayers and your positive vibes. And although my husband took about twice as long to have his surgery completed, he came out okay. And surprisingly, he is a tank. He actually went to work the next day. Yeah, our son thinks he's a man seal. So thank you very much for being there with me and holding that space, and for him, and to bring him home safely. And he has. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate that. And the next thing I want to talk about and actually go into is a post that I made the other day. A post that really came to be known as more about a success post. So it talked about what creating success looks like for you and what it looks like to the outside world and what it looks like when we look internally. So if you remember, it was actually a picture of an iceberg. And what everybody else sees is just basically the tip of the iceberg. And what we all know really happens is what's beneath the water. So we know that we have fears that come up. We know that there are blockages that maybe we have to get through, or even time blockages. There's sorry, I have to get some water. There's some lost faith that might come up for us. And I just wanted to speak a little bit to that, because as entrepreneurs, and specifically as the Fiercely Feminine Entrepreneur Group, the reason for that group is really so that we can help support each other through these times. We're not substitutes, for, say, a business coach or a one-on-one coach, or, maybe your business partner, and maybe even, your family members who are very supportive. But we are a support group for you that can help, because we know what it is that you're going through. And we can help you get past any of the blockages, even in that short moment of time. I've been noticing a lot of women are actually really opening up their hearts and sharing what it is, the struggles that they're going through. And I'm actually brought to tears, because I see how the sisterhood really stands up for them. I mean, for me, that's where I always come from. But what warms me the most is to see people from all over the world being able to just kind of lift them up. And oh my God, sorry. I think I was gonna go there. But that's what really, I guess the whole idea of this Fiercely Feminine group was really about us really supporting each other. I mean, lifting us up and celebrating with us, when great things happen, when maybe we get our trademark filed, or we launched our first website, or gotten our first clients even. But the fact that remains that, we do have our dark moments. We do have those times where we feel less than. We feel, we are self-aware, but we have a lot of self-doubt, because, maybe we're sitting behind the screen day in, day out, night in and night out. Because as you know, as an entrepreneur, we don't work 9 to 5 hours. Oftentimes for me, and I hate to admit it sometimes, but I'll even take the phone to bed because I have to write these ideas down before I forget them. So again, I wanted to talk about the iceberg. I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry about that. But it's really warming to see the support come through. And I'm really happy that you have joined us in that group and that you have shared of yourself, because I believe that by us sharing is when we're actually able to receive the most. And actually the people who can reach out to you and help you, you would be surprised as to how much more they actually get by being able to support you. So keep sharing, keep the love going. I appreciate it, and I thank you from everybody who's ever posted in there and asked for support. So thanks. Oh, okay. Let me get some water here. So with that, I actually wanted to talk about put this down here. With the power of the success that we have, and how it is that we're able, not only in groups, to be able to actually keep the momentum going and keep ourselves, on track and focused on the goal that we have, but to be reminded of the actual gifts and talents and the reason that we actually started our businesses. For a lot of us, the reason that we started is, because we went through a traumatic event and we we got fired, or you know, maybe your husband lost his job and you were a stay-at-home mom and you needed to go to work. So it's reminding yourselves of your why, as to why it is that you're actually going out there and starting your own business. And that's what's actually going to keep propelling you forward. Reaching out to your sisterhood, obviously, is a great way to keep going. But what I wanted to speak to here is the fact that, you know, having at least one person that you can really talk to, whether that's a mastermind partner, you know, a business coach, maybe a family member who is an entrepreneur and willing to take you under their wing as a mentor, because you really need somebody to talk to about, you know, struggles that might come up. You know, there might be some challenges, things that you've never been through before, and you're not really sure how to go about them. But talking to somebody who has been there before is really helpful. So there is a lot to be said for having at least one person that you can collaborate with, and I do encourage you to actually seek that out, whatever it is. You know, this is not a pitch for myself. It's you need to connect with the person. You need to be able to trust them and know them, and also really know that they have your best interests at heart. So just remind yourself as to why you're there and why you're going to keep going. Okay. So I'm actually really excited to announce the call that I had just a little bit ago. I have been chosen to actually be featured on a online magazine launch that's happening in July. So I'm super excited. It's an entrepreneur magazine, and it's what I've been actually chosen for is how to grow your business. I've been chosen to speak on that and to be able to help entrepreneurs, you know, grow their businesses. And I'm really, really super excited about that. It's brand new, it's hot off the presses. I just got off the phone call with them at our first little interview. And it's going to be coming out in July. The magazine, I did get okay to announce it. It's actually Red-ish, RED_ISH. And it just really stands for empowerment and being able to move forward. And I am so excited to be a part of this. So you'll be seeing me there soon. So during that conversation with about the magazine, one of the things that came up was something that I'm really noticing a lot in a lot of the groups that I'm in my network here locally, in a lot of the mommy communities that I'm in. And that's the fact of people having a hobby and calling it a business. And I was one of those as well. You know, I'll take it because I didn't want a full-on business. I actually had my son, I think I mentioned to you before, he was 4 months old when I started my events business. And I didn't want a full-time gig. I didn't want anything that I was going to be too committed to, because my whole idea was just to be able to stay home with him and be able to bring him alongside me. And that I did. So yeah, I was a hobbypreneur for a little while. And once you get to a certain level, you just really realize if you really want to make money, because in most cases, a hobby is barely going to pay for maybe the product that you're selling or get you into a certain club that you might want to be a part of. But for the most part, it's not going to pay the bills. So making that leap from a hobbypreneur into an entrepreneur, it takes a big shift. It takes a certain kind of mindset, and it takes a lot of action to be able to actually step into that. There will be a lot more commitment that'll be required of you. And most of the time, it's going to be more of a time commitment, because if you really look at it, your hobby, you're probably working, honestly, for myself, I hate to say anywhere from like 5 to 10 hours a week at most, really working. And to really make ends meet, and to make it a successful business, there are a lot of part-timers out there, and yes, you can earn a good living on 20 hours a week, but I'm really finding, yeah, the 20 to 40, anywhere around there, is if you really want to make a big impact in your community and in your field, that's really what's required. So I'm in that magazine, I'm actually going to be talking about taking your hobbypreneur and becoming an entrepreneur. So look forward for those articles coming soon. And I think when I'm thinking about hobbypreneur and entrepreneur, one of the first things that really comes to mind is hiring people. And actually, one of the questions later today does talk about hiring people, so I'll get a little bit to that. So hiring and delegating. I think that's probably one of the first things that you'll notice. Most hobbypreneurs, they do everything themselves because they're really not bringing in enough income to be able to hire somebody to do it for them. So that's actually one of the big mindset shifts that you'll actually be taking place. The next is, actually scheduling the time to make things happen. Now, I've talked about time management tons. I think probably on every episode there's a question about time management, and I'm actually seeing it even more. So there is really this issue around time, and until you can really master that for yourself, whatever that means to you, you're not going to be able to really measure the results that you really want to measure in a true business. So I'll get into that a little bit later once the question comes in. So I just wanted to take a little time out and remind everybody who has joined us a little bit late that if you would like to join the conversation or ask a question here live, what you'll need to be doing is, if you are on YouTube, watching on YouTube, you'll have to click the bar at the bottom here that says join the conversation. It will take you into the Google Plus page, and through the Google Plus page, and for everybody watching there, you can access either at the top here or at the top here. There are about 9 little squares that you can hover over with your mouse, and you can select the app. It's a Q&A app. Once you select that, you actually type in your question, and I'll be able to see it. So I'm just going to pop in there really quick and see if anybody has any live questions before we get started on the questions that have been written in. So, all right. Okay, so here we go. We'll start with the questions now. Now, the first question comes, let's see. It is, I am struggling with getting everything done. How do you manage life and business when you work from home? It seems the laundry, the dishes, and everything else needs me. Well, yeah, the laundry, the dishes, and everything else are still going to be there. So when you are working from home, time management is obviously key. Time management in anything is really key to be able to get the most out of the situation that you're in, whether it's being on the merry-go-round with your son or daughter, or working on your next project. So if you're very clear on the time that you're spending and very present, you'll get more out of it. So since you're struggling with how to get everything done, I would first say, take a look at what it is that you need to do throughout a regular day. It could be, that you're spending X amount of hours on doing laundry or doing dishes or just cleaning up around the house before you're finally able to start. For myself, I actually analyzed this pretty darn well, and I took notes for, it was probably about a week or maybe even over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, because I'm a perfectionist. I like to double check things. And I started timing myself to see how long my tasks took. So if it was laundry, because I'm also not a recovering, I love it. I love multitasking. So I'm a multitasker. And I love being able to do multiple things at the same time. So I was timing myself, how long it took me to actually separate the clothes, do the laundry, do the dishes, do the floors, whatever it is that I needed, so that I knew when I brought somebody in, this is how long it actually took. And what I found for myself is what worked best is to have somebody come into my house daily. And I know it sounds pretty crazy, but I've narrowed it down so much that I know that if I do everything the way I want to do it, it takes about it'll take me about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at the most, 2.5, to actually get the things done that need to get done every day. Now, mind you, that's not, I'm not cleaning the house top to bottom every day. I've broken it down in chunks, into sections. A lot of people have maybe a cleaning lady who comes once a month, maybe once a week. And that was pretty much the equivalent of that, but just broken down into smaller chunks, which would allow me to get my work done. Now, for yourself, that's what I would recommend, is just first taking a look at how long things take you. You know, maybe dropping off the kids to school takes, you know, maybe 15, 20 minutes round trip, because you got to get there, you got to get them out of the car seat, you got to walk them in, you got to speak to the counselor or the teacher that's there. So really, and that's the other reason that it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to really analyze this, is because, you know, there's always things that come up, and there always will be. So you have to give yourself a little buffer of time to accomplish stuff. There could be traffic. I mean, my son's school is, I mean, it's literally walking distance away, but it's crossing a major street, and I just prefer to drive. So I drive him over there, but, you know, depending on the traffic, you know, I can't find a place or an opening to be able to get across. So it could take a little bit more time than usual. Or even grocery shopping. You know, grocery shopping with my son, as opposed to grocery shopping on my own, is a huge difference. Never take a toddler into a grocery store. At least mine, he loves to eat everything and taste test everything. He wants this cracker and that fruit and that, you know, yogurt. So, you know, just take a look and analyze what it is that you need to do and how long it actually takes you. And then once you've done that, just take a look at what it is that you don't mind handing over. I'm speaking about house cleaning tips right now, and that's mainly because that's one of the easiest things to really hand over. With your business, there might be, you know, a lot of other things that, well, a lot of other things you need to actually consider before you're handing over certain tasks. You know, a lot of VAs out there right now, and there's a lot of agencies with VAs, but, you know, you need the right VA for the specific tasks. So once you get to that point, you know, we can talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, so hopefully I've given you a few good tips to kind of help you with time management and scheduling and actually getting everything done. The one thing I didn't touch on, and it's really important, is your self-care. And you did actually ask about life and business. So it's not just about managing your business time, but also about managing your life. And, you know, the time that you spend with your loved ones, the time that you spend with your friends, or the time that you spend with yourself. Those things are all very crucial for you to have what I call really a balanced life. And I do believe that there is balance in life. I mean, there's always a long to-do list, and there will be things to do. But the way I approach my life and my schedule is, you know, I want to schedule minimal amounts of time per day, if it allows, and more, obviously, if I could, but to my top topics, really, the things that are most important to me, you know, spirituality, family time, you know, and alone time. And I think I mentioned this last time, but some days and many days, my alone time is really only in the shower. And I get a lot of great thoughts and ideas that come in there, and a lot of peace comes over me. So, sorry about that. I think it's pretty windy here in Toronto today. Doors are slamming. So anyhow, I hope I have given you a few good tips to help you with your time management and being able to balance your life and your business. I would love to hear back from you, any comments that you might have, and after you've actually implemented this. I will make a little caveat kind of note here that I actually work with a program that I've developed, and I'm looking to actually make it available for all of you. So look for that soon on my business page. It's haven't decided on the name yet, but it's a planning guide to be able to get the most out of your 24 hours in the day. So look for that. Okay. Water, I can check your Q&As. See. Okay, so we'll go on to the next question. Oh my goodness, it's almost 12:30 now. All right, so let's see here. I'm a coach and I have a client who constantly pushes my buttons. Up in there. I suggest what she needs to do, but she always puts it on me. How do I stop this cycle? Great question. And the first thing that jumps out at me is the fact that she's putting things on you. So as a coach, and the way I like to practice coaching is there will be times that you need to suggest certain things to your clients, but you are not meant to actually do the work for them. And that needs to actually be laid out from the beginning and very clear with your client so that they know what to expect from you during this coaching relationship and they know what's expected of them. So the first place that I would actually start is creating a client checklist and really explaining to them that they have certain tasks that they need to participate in just as much as you do. I mean, you're there to help guide them and facilitate growth in their business and, possibly nudge them in a certain way or offer them different options and maybe different directions to go in. However, it's my understanding and it's my feeling and the way I coach is the answer is always within the client. They know which direction they want to take. If they need certain education on a specific topic, then it's not the coach who goes out and gets the education and then gives it to the client. It's actually the client that needs to go out and learn it for themselves. So that would be what I would recommend for you, is to start off all of your sessions, your very, very first session, if not even before, with an outline, a written outline, is just to make it absolutely clear what the guidelines are of your coaching relationship so that they're not expecting you to actually do their work. It's not possible to be able to do everybody's work unless you're like an actual consultant or you're coming in to do work for them on site, which at that point, obviously there are certain things that are expected of you with your knowledge and not just overseeing of the project. So that's my recommendation. I hope that helps. All right. So the next question is, I'd like to start coaching, and I have a background in health and fitness. What other options do I have than just being a personal trainer? Personal trainers, love it. I actually was a former personal trainer myself, so I have a little experience with that. With health and fitness in your background, there are a myriad of ways that you can actually go into coaching. Yes, personal training will probably lead you in to a certain way to actually coach and work with your clients. If you wanted to go a little bit deeper, though, into the health world, there is an online certification through IIN.com. And it's Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And that school actually produces thousands of graduates per year, very well known in the industry and very credible. So that would be a place that I would advise you to take a look at to see if there is maybe a topic, a certain niche that interests you and that you can actually coach on. So check out IIN.com. for more information. All right, next up. So this question actually ties into the hiring of the help. And when do I know when it's time to hire someone? That's really simple. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you have 100 things on your to-do list, and at the end of the day, maybe only like 10 of them are getting done. So when you just have way too much on your plate, and maybe you're lacking in certain knowledge or education to do certain things. I love Excel, I love Word, I work on Keynote, but I'm not a master at it. I can convert into PDF and I can convert back, but I'm not, if I need a specific task done, I will need to hire someone to do that. And there are times when I want to learn it for myself because I know that I'm going to be using this specific task time and time again. But for the most part, if you need it done, it's better for you to actually hire someone else to actually get that done and pay them whatever it is. Maybe they spend an hour on it. Maybe they spend half a day on it, as opposed to you actually spending a full day, if not a full week, if not a full month, with researching, testing out, and trying to get things done. So that's when I would actually look at hiring somebody, and when I would recommend to hire someone. Is when you're working on specific tasks and you're spending way too much time trying to learn how to do it, as opposed to just hiring a professional and letting them get it done. So hope that helped. Oh, by the way, if you guys have joined the call a little bit late and you want to join the conversation, if you are on YouTube, just click the Join the Conversation button here. This will take you to the Google Hangouts page, and select the 9 squares on the upper screen here or here, and hover, select Q&A, type in your question, and I'd be happy to answer that for you. So the next question comes in, and let's see. Ooh, it's about working from home. Yes, that's us. So working from home, I feel totally alone some days. I started this business because I could have freedom to schedule what I want, but I find myself tied to my home office desk day and night. So how do you actually get out from under your desk? Yeah, it can be a bit isolating working from home. We started this business so that we can actually be home and work from home and have the time freedom. But oftentimes what happens is we just get stuck here. I have my son, so I'm able to run out and take him places. But if I didn't, there are times that I can just be holed in here for hours on end because I'm working on a project. There's some inspired action, and I'm going for it. And it feels really good, but we have to remind ourselves that we are social beings. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we still need the energy of other people around us. Maybe even going to a coffee shop whether for a break or to work on a specific task. Say you have to write emails. That would be actually a great way for you to kind of get out and feel a little bit more connected to the outside world is, grab your laptop, run out to Starbucks, and grab them home. At least it gives you an opportunity to connect with other people, maybe have another conversation with somebody. You never know who you're going to meet. There's been a lot of women in the Fiercely Feminine group that I actually met while just being out. One comes to mind that was actually at Starbucks, and that was a couple months ago. But it was just really getting out there and just, getting a change of scenery. Like it was just really, okay, I'm going to get out and I'm going to see what else inspires me when I'm out there. And I met this great lady. So you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what opportunities might actually come up. You never know, just who needs you. Like there might be somebody sitting in that Starbucks that just needed to feel your presence. And I know it sounds kind of funny, but I like to compliment people when I'm out. If I like something, not if I don't. And I remember being in a store. I had just I think we were eating and then we left into the store. And there was this lady. She was a silver fox, and she looked amazing. And for those of you who don't know me, I love silver hair. I think it's beautiful. And, I made a compliment. I saw her, I noticed her in the restaurant, and then I actually ran into her in the restroom. And I just, gave her a compliment, and she was so touched. I could just see her eyes light up. It made her feel like $1,000,000. So you never know what it's going to do for other people, for you to be able to share your love and your wisdom and just share of yourself with others. So I advise you to get out, go get a Jamba Juice, go do something, and just change your scenery. Get some fresh air too. We need that. All right, so we have a couple more questions here, and I'm just going to check online. Okie dokie. Oops. There we go. Okay. So the next question is, how do you deal with overwhelm? So you're asking me how I deal with overwhelm. Okay, well, that's actually one part of it. First of all, when I notice that I am getting overwhelmed, I get physical sensations. I can feel my heart speeding up. Sometimes I might feel my hands get a little clammy, or my shoulders really start to ache. I get physical symptoms. So when those things come to me, I basically ground myself. I ground myself. There might be some inspirational quotes that I actually look at. Actually, that brings to mind something that just came to me this week. And it was an inspired action about getting started, keeping going, staying on track. And it was because I had so many things on my plate. I had tons of things that I needed to do, and they're still there. It's just about obviously planning them out and working your plan. But what I ended up doing is I brain dumped the reasons that I'm doing this. I call it my inspiration list. So what I've begun doing now is every day I have these inspiration lists actually posted in different areas in my actual workbook, up by my computer screen, and up in my restroom. And every day I can see these and remind myself, it grounds me, to remind me as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's a very personal list. I remember when I first created it, I was in tears because there were a few things in there that, it's just regular, simple needs that we need as human beings, and I've been doing without. So when I deal with overwhelm, I have to reground. I sit, I might take a deep breath and just really connect with why it is that I've started my business, and gives me the perseverance and the persistence to actually move forward. Hope that helped. All right, so the last question I have is, this person actually wants to start, I want to open a business in my town. Where do I start? So there's a lot of questions, follow-up questions with this. So, what kind of business do you want to start? Is it a yoga studio? Do you want to start a shop? There's a lot of follow-up questions, but the first and foremost thing is, do your homework. Do your homework about the clients that you're going to be servicing, and you really want to position yourself in a specific area for them to actually find you. For example, if you're a designer, you're an architect, and you want to open up an actual studio, you might want to be in the design district as opposed to the garment district. There are specific locations to do these things. There might be an up-and-coming location that is new. One of the things I've always found is any of the gay and lesbian areas always seem to be up and coming. At least that's what it was like when I was in San Diego. Anywhere that they went, they turned the community around, and they revitalized it. Basically, businesses started flourishing, and that's just an idea that popped in my head about where to actually open up. But again, do your homework on your clientele, know where they shop, where they're looking for your kind of services, and try to place yourself in a location where they can actually find you. If you're in a larger city, another great thing to look at is the subway line. And obviously the most popular subway lines here in Toronto, the subway line is Yonge Street. And anybody on Yonge Street with a Yonge Street address, you know, they have a lot of clout because they're on Yonge Street, but they're very easily accessible by the subway. So you being accessible to your clients is actually a great thing. So take a look at that first. You know, where to start. That would be the place I would start, because you really need to figure out where location you're going to be opening in. And if you haven't already, you know, take a look at hiring a lawyer, hiring an accountant, because those two people are key in actually growing your business. So that gives you a place to start at least, and I hope I answered your question. All right, well, it is about 20 minutes to 1, and as I had mentioned before, I am not going to take a full hour of your day because I know how precious your time is. And it is the Empower Hour with Isabel, but it's the Empower Hour on the hour. So I really thank you for joining me today. I want to invite you to join our community, which is on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. The name of the community is actually called Fiercely Feminine Entrepreneur. And I also have my business page there, facebook.com/Isabel Starck. And you'll actually see the links available here if you would like to take a look. Yeah, and give me your feedback. Anything that you might want to know that can be addressed on any of these Empower Hours, I am open to, and I'm excited to help you on your journey. So thank you again for joining me live. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you Wednesday. Bye.